y'all is this. The Lakers and the Clippers play in the same arena. When the Lakers are playing, it's really showtime. I'm talking about the ambiance. I mean, you walk into a place, it feels like a star-studded event. Magic has all of that working for him.
He does. The Lakers brand is the strongest brand in the history of basketball in the known universe.
This has been another installment of On This Day in Smithsery. Now, back to you, First Take.
Yes, everybody, that was this date 4 years ago today. And as the Smithsery books indicate, you'd both be right, as Magic did get LeBron to the Lakers one championship later. I would say that worked out for LA. Speaking of LeBron, guys, a lot of folks say he's still the best player in the league, that the torch has not been passed yet. So that's where we go with this next debate. So after scoring the most points ever in a Game 7, has Kevin Durant, I'm looking at you, sir, officially passed LeBron James as the best player in the NBA? Right
Molly,
now?
not yet.
Okay.
He's got to win that chip. He got to win that championship. And they came up short, just like LeBron and the Lakers came up short this season. So LeBron still has the edge on those championship rings. So I would say not yet. But I tell you, I was just taken back. And I've never seen a guy perform like KD did in that Bucks series, and just like he was doing it from everywhere. So I was very impressed with KD. He's one of my favorite all-time players, and the way he can score, where he can score from, is just amazing. And I would say this, you know how the torch is being like this? Like
in the Olympics, the pass in the back, they got to work on that turn.
And KD is like, got his arm out, waiting on it. And let me just bring this up.
LeBron turning.
Exactly. Let me just bring this up. It's just like Larry Bird and I, we were on the bus.
That's right.
We're on the bus.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. You tell it. Somebody can tell it like you. That's exactly what I was doing. It's yours. Go ahead.
I had this
You make me mad now. So we're on the bus.
Right.
And Michael Jordan looks at me, looks at Larry, and says, "There's a new sheriff in town."
That's right. That's right. After practice.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I said, uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right.
He was right.
And he was right.
He was right.
Yes, sir.
And this KD is looking right now. Go ahead.
I've said this to Max on several occasions. So it's the first year KD arrived in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Previous year they had lost in Game 7, OKC, Golden State. They beat LeBron in the finals, whatever. Actually, LeBron beat them in the finals that year. The next year, KD is going up against LeBron. And the first basket of the game, money, KD scores. And KD goes like this and spreads his arm out wide like, let's go. And what I was saying to Max is I said, in basketball parlance, that's when you saying to a guy, I'm here now.
Yeah.
See, you had me when I had the other crew. But now I got a crew like you do. Mm-hmm. Now it's me and you in KD's mind. Now it's me and you. And that series, even though LeBron averaged a triple-double with 32 points, triple-double, and he was sensational.
Yeah.
I constantly remind folks, KD averaged 35 on 53% shooting. The brother wasn't playing. And what I'm saying to you is this. I'm partial to offense. I know how great LeBron is. LeBron has a better resume. KD got some work to do to catch LeBron's resume.
Right.
But I'm talking talent. Mm-hmm. And when I look at the offensive talent of Kevin Durant, and I think about those 38,000 points that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scored, one guy in this sat up there and said, you know what I feel like? I think I'm going to catch this record. If he decides, I just think I'm going to catch this record. He's going to do it because he's just that unstoppable. To be the sniper that he is at 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan, who can finish at the free throw line.
Let me say this real quick because we're going to run out of time real quick. I'll put it, what's real barbershop talk? It's basketball and boxing for the most part, right? So let me make this barbershop for a second.
Sure.
LeBron had the undisputed title. There was no dispute to his claim, right?
Yeah.
It's like Tyson Fury when he beat Klitschko. He's the undisputed champ. Then he went away for a while and Anthony Joshua was coming up, right? Now there's a dispute. Whoever you think is champion, there's a dispute at least, right? LeBron, the title has not been taken, but there's a dispute. KD, the way he just played, has a legit dispute, has a legit claim that, hold on, I'm number one, and LeBron's going to have to go out and defend the title again next year. It's up for grabs. He's not the undisputed champ anymore like he was. I thought he outplayed KD in that first series with Golden State and Cleveland.
I think you're right. Now there is a debate where before there was never a debate.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting next year for both of them, right? Can we finally see LeBron and the Lakers against Brooklyn and the Nets? Because we thought we were going to see that this season. But what has happened this season has been great for basketball. Atlanta Hawks, new teams, new superstars. Now, Trae Young is a superstar, not a star anymore. Devin Booker is a superstar, not a star anymore. So this has been great for the league.
Markets like Milwaukee, a lot of teams we didn't expect.
And then let's give him love, because the Greek Freak is a different player than he was the last couple of playoffs. He finally understands what he has to do to be effective when they build that wall against him. And Chris Middleton, let's give him love. That guy is real at closing the games for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I need to get your thoughts on this, though, guys.
Okay.
Coming up next, pass the ball to Thibault. Joel, talk to me.
I don't know how to say it, but I thought the turning point was just, we had an open shot, and we made one free throw, and we missed the other, and then they came down and scored, and we didn't get a good possession on the other end, and Trae came back and he made a three, and then from there down 4, and then it's on me. I turned the ball over and try to make something happen from the perimeter. But I thought that was a turning point.
Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
Gentlemen, pay attention to these numbers, will you? So not Doc Rivers' best coaching effort. His fourth straight game 7 losses are tied for the longest such streak in NBA history. His 29 losses with an opportunity to clinch a series are the most among all head coaches. Rivers has an NBA worst 341 win percentage in such situations. Magic, you are up first. Who looks worse here? Is it Doc or Ben Simmons?
Well, it's definitely Ben Simmons. Doc doesn't play. So we have to remember Doc has won a championship, so he knows what he's doing. Listen, when you're the second best player on your team and we say, hey, he's a star, he's been an all-star, you got to perform like one. And Ben Simmons did not do that. He wasn't aggressive. But the Sixers lost this series in Game 5. If they had won Game 5, they would have won this series. But they lost the series when Coach McMillan of the Hawks did that hacker Simmons, and they couldn't go to the free throw line and hit those free throws, and that's where they lost this series. And then he lost his confidence in Game 5 as well, right? And so now it's time for a new destination and a new place for Ben Simmons. It'll be great for him. It'll be great for the organization. Rich Paul's got to go out and do his thing as his agent to get him in a place where he can thrive, get his confidence back. Hopefully there's a star at another team who needs a change of scenery as well, and bring that person into Philly. Fan base loves the Sixers in Philly, and this man can talk about that more than I can. I played against the Sixers twice, so I know that fan base. They love the Sixers, and talk radio this morning is probably talking about getting Simmons out of there. Doc Rivers prepared the team, but he can't shoot free throws. He can't knock down shots.
First of all, here's the deal. There is no excusing what's going on with Doc Rivers. I love the man personally and professionally. But there have been several collapses on his watch. And this weekend is particularly devastating because the Los Angeles Clippers won a Game 7 and went to the conference finals for the first time in franchise history. in Ty Lue's first year, and he did it the last 3 games without Kawhi Leonard.
Go look up Ty Lue when he's down in a series or when it's on the line.
I got you. The point is that you consider what Ty Lue did in year 1 and that Doc Rivers didn't do it in 7 years. And then on the same weekend, you lose a game 7 to an Atlanta Hawks team most people thought that you were supposed to beat. This is not a good day for Doc Rivers, number 1.
Yep.
But having said all of that, I roll with my man Magic Johnson. Ben Simmons has got to go. He's 24 years of age. He's a star talent.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Ben Simmons should be given up on because he's some scrub or anything like that. It goes to what you pointed out, Magic. I know Philly.
Yeah.
I worked there for 17 years. I was a columnist for my last time. Let me tell you something right now. That city ain't going to ever forgive him for what they have seen. And here's why. Not just that he missed shots. He didn't take them.
Yeah.
See, when you see the Greek freak in Milwaukee miss or make, he takes them. Ben Simmons is literally scared to shoot the basketball. He gave up a wide open dunk because he anticipated he was going to be fouled and didn't want to go to the free throw line. 34% shooting in the postseason. For anybody who's attempted 70 or more, it's the worst free throw percentage shooting in the history of basketball. And this is the league Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal played in.
Right.
And they shot better from the free throw line than Ben Simmons. This is very, very bad. And when you take that into consideration, and you combine that with the fact that Philadelphia being a very unforgiving town, and they don't know how to let off and lay off, and they're going to constantly berate him, and it's mental.
Yeah.
With him, I don't believe he can overcome that, Max. In the city of Philadelphia, you got to move him. I'm going to say it right here on national television. Try and get yourself somebody like C.J. McCollum. Bring him to Philly. Send Ben Simmons to Portland. Because with all the perimeter guys they have in Damian Lillard, it would work.
That's how bad his trade value has been diminished. Now it's like, can you get C.J. McCollum for Ben Simmons?
It was 4 years, $140 million.
Ben Simmons cannot be fixed in Philadelphia. I agree with you. And by the way, the Philly fans get such a bad rap for riding guys. How were they with Markelle Fultz? When he was going through problems, that city supported him. Any little positive thing he could do, they're doing the same thing for Ben Simmons. The city's behind him. He just let him down. I think it's over for him. They've supported him. I think it's over for Ben Simmons in Philly. Can Doc be fixed in Philly? I agree with you both. Ben Simmons got to go. Can Doc be fixed in Philly? Look at what just happened. Look, you're right, Magic. He's already shown he can win a championship with a big 3 in a league that didn't have any other big 3. They were the only one, got 1. Collapsed, more playoff collapses. The stats have been going around, et cetera, et cetera. And I love Doc Rivers. I loved him as a point guard for the Knicks. But we have to be honest about this. You can't play Dwight Howard in that game or Shake Milton. Like, those guys can't see the floor. He went 10 deep in a game 7. Think about what was happening in that game early on. Dudes who were getting cooked. Like, this is just coaching stuff. Gallinari was cooking George Hill. Seth Curry was getting cooked by Herter, right? And then they're playing a backcourt of Trae Young and Lou Will. You got to punish that. Offensively, you have to. They can't play defense. You got to punish
But with who? Who are you going to punish him with?
Well, if Tobias Harris would be nice if he showed up.
Okay, but that didn't happen. Danny Green hurt. His injury hurt the Sixers. So you can't judge Doc Rivers until Danny Green is in that lineup. But this is it. You talked about last season. Doc Rivers wasn't playing against the Denver Nuggets. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George didn't show up in Game 7. Jamal Murray outscored both of those superstars. One man did, right? So that's not Doc's fault. Same thing here. Listen, Ben Simmons got to take ownership and say, listen, this is what's going on out here. I know Embiid's going to give me 30. I got to get at least 20 to 25 for us to win.
What do you get for Ben Simmons? And who should want him?
Well, a solid player. McCollum would be great because he can shoot. He'll stretch the floor. He can play alongside.
And he ain't scared to shoot.
Exactly.
Stephen A., who do you think should want Simmons?
I just said Portland. I think a team like Portland with the perimeter players and the style of play that they have, not to mention the fact that their Achilles heel is defense.
Yeah.
And Ben Simmons doesn't have that.
I think he's the best defender in the league.
He can defend anybody. But let me also add this. Here's what I will, again, you're right about Doc Rivers. Here's what to point to, though. Seth Curry is a damn good basketball player, and we've been very pleased by what we've seen from him. He's undersized against Herter. You know it, you see it,
I'm saying.
You do very little about it. You gotta. I understand Trae Young is a threat, but Trae Young was 4'22", before he hit from the damn logo in the last minute or so, okay? Herter's hurting you all game long.
Right.
At some point in time, you got to make that decision. Get off of him. If you got to double up to get the ball out of his hands and force somebody else to shoot, disrupt their rhythm, do something, as opposed to keeping the underside.
I'm not
Curry on.
Stephen A. Magic, you guys are right about Ben Simmons. There's no argument. I'm just saying Doc can't slide. Like Brett Brown, you were calling, and you take that very seriously. You're not calling for people's job, but you said you have to take a long, hard look at Brett Brown after a certain amount of time, right? He never got out-coached like that.
Oh, hell yes, he did.
No, not like
oh,
that.
Hell yes, he did.
In a game 7 like that.
Magic is here, so he didn't get to game 7, okay? But what I'm saying, other than Toronto, but Magic's here, so I'm not going to get into it. But hell yes, he did.
Doc
Rivers, Brown.
Doc Rivers just got out-coached as bad as you can get out-coached.
No, he got out-coached. Yeah.
In game 7, we always look for a hero, right, on either side. And Herter happens to be the hero for the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, he's matched up with a 5'2" guy.
Yeah, but he got it going. You got to give him credit. He got it going. The problem, again, goes back to this. Listen, game 5, that's where they lost it. You can't overlook game 5. See, in a series, the most important games, you got to win. Against a young team like the Hawks, when you have your advantage, and you compound them and get the victory, game 5 is where the series was either.
I have a question for you, Magic.
Right.
I have a question for you because the question as to where should Simmons go, to me, hinges on who can get between his ears.
But
there's a problem there.
That's right.
Who do you think is...
And then just a couple of nuggets.
And then we got to get a commercial break.
Somebody mentioned Porzingis. I'm just getting texts literally. Somebody mentioned Porzingis. I'm not buying that because he's another one that I don't trust. Somebody mentioned Bradley Beal. That's not going to work. The reason why is Washington would never do that deal because Russell Westbrook's problem is shooting. So why would you bring Ben Simmons to add with that?
No, it's not going to happen.
So you're not going to do that. And then I just got it on good authority. They were watching the game last night in Portland. There's a few people there that would not want Ben Simmons.
You said would not. Yeah.
Would not want Ben Simmons.
So Magic, who could fix
Magic while you were here? They're like, no.
Who could fix his confidence?
Just like you did.
Who could fix his confidence? Like the whole question as to where he goes is who can get to him.
You got to have a veteran sitting there that can hopefully get his confidence back for him, right? And also take the pressure off him. You know who he reminds me of? Iguodala. Same situation in Philly.
Miscast as a 1, yes.
Couldn't live up to the billing. Went to Golden State.
Right.
Great player.
And great player, right? When he was the third guy, no pressure on him.
The biggest problem with him was his initials. See, he was AI, okay? But he came to Philly with the initials AI after the real AI was in the building for 10 years.
One thing about Iguodala, though, he was never scared to shoot.
No, there
was no fear in Iguodala.
But I'm just saying the situation is almost the same where they didn't live up to the billing of being drafted that high, and then he went where he could now be the third or fourth wheel behind Draymond, Clay, and Steph, and he found a perfect role. So don't give up on Ben Simmons. He's too young, too talented. Just not in Philly. That's all it is.
That's all I'm saying. That's all we're saying. Just in Philly.
Just work on the free throws a little. Worst percentage ever in the playoffs.
Well, see, this is where young guys, this is where I get upset at young guys. You think you're all of that.
And a bag of chips.
That's right.
Your game.
And you haven't been working on your game in the summertime.
That's right.
Ben Simmons, Rich Paul, your agent, got to get you to work on your game all summer.
But maybe this, you got humbled, you know?
That's right.
Sometimes we're picking the grapes, sometimes we're drinking the wine. We've all been there.
And Molly, in the offseason, half of them are in L.A. and Miami. No.
Yep.
You don't
I
need
get
to
the
go
feeling
there.
like
You need to be somewhere else working on your game. Not there.
They're working on their other game.
Can't do it. No. Not Miami and LA. No.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Do you have a Stephen A's list for me? That's what I'm hearing. So despite...
The man, the magic man is in the house. So guess what I came up with? I usually reserve Stephen's A-list for the end of the show. But I wanted this near the beginning, Magic, because the Brooklyn Nets are home. They are done. Just like the Knicks, but I won't rub it in too much because I was rooting for Brooklyn. Knicks first, New York always with me. But here's the bottom line. There's 5 reasons, Magic Johnson. This is dedicated to you. 5 reasons why the Brooklyn Nets are home right now. Let's go to number 5 on the list. Give it to me right now. Giannis showed up, averaged 32 and 13, wasn't scared of the moment. It's game 7 in Brooklyn on the road after he did his thing in game 6. What does he do against KD? With KD putting on an absolute show. Giannis drops 40. Okay, he didn't disappear. He didn't shrink in the moment. We got to give the Greek Freak love where love is due. Let's go to number 4 on the list, please. Give it to me right now. Kyrie Irving's injury. We all know that if Kyrie Irving, that showstopper, Mr. Box Office, the nastiest handle in the game, one of the most skilled, Max Kellerman says arguably the most skilled players you ever seen. If this dude doesn't twist his ankle, excuse me, the Milwaukee Bucks are not in the conference finals. It's the Brooklyn Nets that's here if Kyrie Irving had stayed healthy, but it didn't happen. Give me number 3 on the list, please. Joe Harris. Don't get me started with this brother right here. I mean, you're supposed to be a shooter. You are supposed to be a shooter, especially when you're open. That's the key. With Kevin Durant putting on a show. James Harden with the hamstring, still playing 46 minutes one game, 39 the other. Shows up for game 7. You got open shots, Joe Harris, and all of a sudden, you can't hit the damn river. It's right out here. You couldn't even shoot the ball into the river. That's a problem, Joe Harris. Look in the mirror this offseason. You had the jumper all year long until it counted. And then we couldn't find you. The APB out for you. Think about that. Let's go to number 2 on the list, please. Give it to me, Steve Nash. Excuse me, Steve Nash. Ever heard of a timeout to give Kevin Durant a break? Because you know how exhausted he is. He played 48 minutes for you in game 5. He showed up in game 6, was in the midst of playing all 53 minutes in game 7. Think you could have called the timeout to give him a breather, a break, so he wouldn't shoot an air ball on that last shot after being completely spent? I won't get into some of your other substitutions. I won't get into some of the other things that you didn't do. But that was a flagrant error on your part, Steve Nash. You made a slew of them, and coaching clearly was an issue. But it doesn't eclipse number 1. Give it to me right here. Karma.
Oh.
Why?
Wow.
Get out of here.
Oh.
Listen to this, Max. Stay with me. James Harden, love him, but wanted out of Houston. Came into camp out of shape. Came into the season out of shape. You think that didn't have something to do with the hamstring injury?
Good point.
You ultimately incurred? Absolutely. I brought up coaching at number 2, right? Remember, Kyrie Irving is quoted as saying at the beginning of the season, we don't really need coaching. Guess what? Kyrie, we're thinking about you. What about the other players that we're going to need to produce? Better coaching might have had those other dudes ready to help Kevin Durant in a game 7. Then you, Kyrie Irving, you missed some games. You took a couple of weeks off. You took off whenever you wanted. That didn't send the right message to the team. Blake Griffin, you didn't show up in Detroit. You stole money from the Detroit Pistons. You didn't want to play basketball. You didn't even dunk in 2 years until you arrived at Brooklyn. Okay? This kind of stuff ultimately comes back to bite you. That's what happened to the Brooklyn Nets. That is why they're home right now. If they were together, if they were committed, if they put in that work constantly, day in and day out, not just as coaches, but as players, you would have been more together. Karma wouldn't have been against you, and you'd be in the Eastern Conference right now. These are my 5 reasons why the Brooklyn Nets are home watching the playoffs with the rest of us. My apologies to KD, because good God, he was sensational.
I got to give it to you. That's the list right there. I take that list all day long.
Karma's, you won me over with karma.
Yeah.
You said stay with me. I did. You won me over with karma. But let's keep it simple. Injuries is number 1. Period. Injuries decide this whole playoffs. LeBron's ankle and LeBron's wheel, whatever, and AD not playing every series. Just look what happened.
But I basically included
every series.
it in it. I talked about
I get it.
The injuries is part of the karma. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but Kyrie is hurt and Harden's hurt. That wasn't James Harden. That was like a shell of James Harden.
But I told you why.
Okay, Nash is right on the money. Nash, right after injuries, is Nash. It was easy to be the coach of that team when you roll the ball out and say, take us there, KD. But could you design some plays?
But
maybe
Max,
take Harden out of the game?
But Max, everything you just said is right. But they still had a chance to win game 7.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All the things you just said, they still had a chance to win if Joe Harris had just hit 2 or 3 shots.
Or KD doesn't airball the last shot.
Well, he's too tired.
He's exhausted.
Yeah,
he's exhausted.
You can't expect the. The man did everything that he could to put his team in a position to win. He hits the almost. I wish it was a 3. It was a 2 at the end.
I know, that was a killer.
Because the feet was too damn.
That was a killer. But you know why I bring up the missed shot? You're right. KD played his heart out. It was amazing. But LeBron always gets held to the MJ standard.
Right.
Michael Jordan would have done that. Michael Jordan never takes, ever in a Game 7, the last shot with the game on the line, airballs shot. Just never happens. So I'm just saying KD has played himself to the point now where he has to get the same comparisons that LeBron got.
I'm going to break this down.
Please do.
We finally found out about the Brooklyn Nets. They got 3 superstars. The best entertainer in all of basketball, Kyrie Irving. James Harden played the best I've ever seen him play this whole season. And KD's on another level. The torch is almost being passed from LeBron to him as the best player on the planet. But it's going to be the role players. If he doesn't improve those players around those 3, they're not going to win it next year. Joe Harris can be a piece to bring in guys. You need guys. Just look at the Lakers. KCP, Rondo, Dwight Howard, Caruso. All those guys help the Lakers win. And you need those type of guys if you're going to win a championship. The 3 going to perform well, but you need the other guys.
Listen, and I'm going to go here with you. You're Magic. You're a champion. You know this game like the back of your hand. You also know the importance of coaching. Here's where I come to you as a star, basically the face of a franchise. It's not just that Steve Nash is the coach. It's that you picked him.
Yeah.
Sean Marks picks the coach you want. It don't matter what he came to you and suggested. If you said no, Steve Nash wouldn't be the coach.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, like, let's take a time, if we can point, because there's only one thing we could point the finger at KD about this season. One thing and one thing only. KD pretty much followed and adopted the mentality of Kyrie Irving. It's not that important. We got a crew. We gonna be all right no matter what. No, Steve Nash is gonna be. I think they're gonna win championship next year if they're healthy. But the point is this: not a scintilla of experience as a head coach on any level. And you know how tough it is to win championships. And you would have that kind of attitude. I think for a champion like Kyrie Irving and for a champion like KD, who know the game and know how important coaching is, to have that kind of mentality is inexcusable. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that, both of those guys have won a championship.
Right.
They know what it takes to win a championship. Sometimes you look and say, hey, we're good enough. We don't need a coach, but you do need a coach.
Yeah.
Timeouts or adjustments.
Yeah.
See, the playoffs, Molly, show you who can really coach. That's when you earn your money. It's not during the regular season. It's the playoff. Who can make adjustments? Nate McMillan made adjustments.
Yeah.
You can go to the Phoenix Suns coach.
Yeah, Monty Williams.
Monty Williams made great
I
adjustments.
can blow you away with this. Brooklyn had a chance to have Ty Lue if they wanted him.
Ty Lue makes adjustments in every round.
Ty Lue.
Ty Lue might mess around and be the best coach in the NBA.
That's right.
Yeah, he might be the best coach in the NBA.
If Ty Lue is coaching the Brooklyn Nets, what are we saying right now?
Let me say one thing, Stephen A., to you about this Nash point. You won me over. You were on this Nash thing since the beginning, because Magic, I actually disagree about one thing. I think if the big 3 are healthy, they will lay waste to this league. The role players can mess up, but if the big 3 are healthy, because what you saw, you never really got to see it.
It doesn't happen like that, Max. It doesn't happen like that.
But okay, I'll say this.
You can't just say that because I got 3 of the best players in the league, we're going to automatically win. That doesn't work like that. And they don't have defensive-minded cats. Listen, those 3 can score against anybody. Now you bring in 1 or 2 defensive-minded guys. P.J. Tucker, what did he do for the Milwaukee Bucks? He brought a mentality that was different. He's not soft. All the other dudes before him were soft. So he said, we're not going to play soft no more. So, yes, KD scored 40-something points on it, but he made him earn every one of them. And that's what you need. Brooklyn needs mentality, a tough mentality. They got the scores, but they still got to get some defensive-minded guys.
Magic, I'm not arguing with Magic Johnson. I'll just say, if you and Michael and Larry played on the same team. Molly and me could be the other two people. You guys would have won all the time. Like, they have sick talent in that big three. But where I agree with Stephen A., where I think this comes into play about Nash, is what if someone gets hurt? What if now you can't just roll the ball out there going coach?
Bounced.
He was right about Steve Nash. He's right about mentality. He won me over with the karma thing.
Right about Ben
karma.
Simmons.
The number one reason Stephen A. says the Nets are not still in these playoffs is karma. I like that. Who needs their star player back more? The Clippers with Kawhi Leonard or the Suns with their floor general Chris Paul? Do not miss that debate next. Plus, Magic just alluded to it. We got to get his opinion on this as Kevin Durant officially passed LeBron James for the current best player. Conference finals on Sunday due to COVID-19 health safety protocols. In his absence, Devin Booker came up huge. 40 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, triple-double to lead the Suns to victory. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard hasn't played since injuring his knee in Game 4 of the Clippers series against the Jazz. Paul George has stepped up with Kawhi out, but it wasn't enough to get a win in Game 1. Magic Johnson, which team needs its star to return more, Clips or Suns?
Definitely the Clippers, because I think that with home court advantage going to the Suns, you can win 4 games at home, right? And give up 3 games on the road. So I think the Clippers need Kawhi. And Kawhi probably wants to play and redeem himself, just like we're seeing Paul George stepping up because of what happened last season. So I would say Kawhi needs to be back more for this series than Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns.
Couple of things. As an aside, I agree with Magic about that. I'd also like to remind the viewing audience out here that they're very, very lucky that Magic Johnson decided to just go back to being an ultra successful businessman, not running the Lakers franchise, because the basketball world wouldn't be fair, because Kawhi would have been in the Lakers uniform if this man was still there with LeBron and AD. I'm telling you what I know. He don't have to. I'm telling you what I know. Now,
all 3 of those guys were out. They're all 3 of them were hurt.
3 of them. Well, let me tell you something. They said they had to limp their way to that. All right. Having said all of that, I'm going to tell you it's Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
You want me to tell you why? Because without Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers ain't winning this series. Now, I give the Clippers major props. Ty Lue, exceptional job. And that environment Friday night was electrifying.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Clippers environment like that in my life. Okay, it was something special to behold. And them raining threes and that kid, man, who's right from the Bronx out of Florida State, it was special.
You can play.
Beverly hit 3 threes, and it was just crazy. It was unbelievable. Having said all of that, this is a different level, because whereas you had Donovan Mitchell and basically nobody else athletically, particularly with Conley hurt, that's not a problem in Phoenix. They're a guard-oriented team with Bridges, all right, Booker, CP3 of these boys, Payne coming off the bench. I like them. But I want to say this for the record with Magic Johnson sitting right here in studio with me. I told you with Donovan Mitchell, that's D-Wade 2.0. He's special. Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
I'm saying it on national television. Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
It is official. His first playoff appearance. And the brother's a number 1 option, averaging over 28, dropped 40 in a triple-double in the first game of the conference finals. And just the way he plays, he's an assassin. And guess what? This Clippers team, you need Kawhi back to knock that kid off.
What did I say before the series started? Devin Booker is a mini Mamba. He's the closest thing offensively to Kobe's game in the sense that he can kill you from anywhere.
Yeah.
Kobe was his mentor as well.
Yeah, he's a mini Mamba. Here's
He
the
ain't
thing,
mini.
and I hate this question. I hate it because it's a hard question to answer. Who needs their star more? I'm actually going to say Phoenix needs Chris Paul more, and I'll tell you why. Chris Paul, like James Harden was playing the best basketball of his career. Chris Paul in the last series, the best he's ever played, and that is saying something in that career. That was perfect. I always ask Stephen A. because of his relationship with Larry Brown. Like, Chris Paul must be Larry Brown's, that's how perfect. That's exactly how you play it.
Right.
And that was the perfect point guard playing perfectly, right? Now, here's why they need that. Devin Booker gave you a 40-point triple-double at home. You won by the skin of your teeth. By the skin of your teeth. And if you think man can't play that way, man can play. He can play. Paul George can play. Rondo can play. They have a team full of guys who can play. They were on the road without Kawhi, and that late shot by Batum in the fourth quarter, I forgot how much time was left, it looked good out of his hands, may have changed that. Maybe they wind up winning that game. He was off a little bit. That Clippers team is live without Kawhi. I think the Suns need Chris Paul back.
Magic, if you were, go ahead.
Go.
No, go ahead.
Max, there's no maybes, baby, in the playoffs. You either win or you lose.
Right.
That's all.
By the way,
That's it. So Chris Paul can miss a game because of pain, because he can run the show and Devin can score. Bridges is playing, man, off the charts right now. They got a lot of guys that can get you 10 points, 12 points, so on and on. The Clippers, if they're going to beat the Phoenix Suns, need Kawhi. Kawhi was playing some of his best basketball, too. See, we didn't give him love because he's been dominant during this playoffs. So I think the Clippers really need him. And you got to go on the road and beat them.
Yeah, you're going to have to take one on the road at least.
You got to take one on the road. So that's why I say Kawhi. And you're right about CP3. He's playing the best he's ever played. But we know he's coming back.
that's right.
See, we know he's coming
Yeah.
back. We don't know if Kawhi is coming back.
I don't want to make, I know we got to go. I don't want to make my brother Magic sick at all, but as an aside, I don't even want to make you sick, and I actually like making you sick sometimes. But I got to tell you this. I actually heard that Brooklyn, PJ Tucker's camp was telling folks he thought he was going to end up in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's the guy.
He thought he was going to end up in Brooklyn, and for some reason, it didn't happen.
Wow.
If you Brooklyn,
Wow.
how do you not grab PJ Tucker?
I'm telling you.
How do you let that man?
I love PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Michael Cooper, who I used to play with.
Great in the locker room, great with the press, great with,
Right.
and does the dirty work.
Hard out here, fellas. Let me get this break in. Kevin.